Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Today I've got a video that is basically done by you guys. A little while back I asked you on the community tab of my YouTube channel, what's a fragrance that's not really considered a compliment beast, compliment magnet, compliment monster? What's a fragrance that's not considered that, but for you, it is that? So no Dior Sauvages, no Aqua de Joes, no Bleu de Chanel's, none of those. None of the fragrances that pretty much everybody can get on the same page with you and say, oh yeah, that's obviously, yeah, a compliment getter, we get it. I asked you guys, what are those fragrances? And you let me know. And today I'm gonna be sharing with you 10 of the most upvoted answers. And that post is still up on the community tab. Feel free to go down through there because there are a bunch of answers on there. And I'll have each of these linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. And as always, pause the video if you want some codes. Save 10 to 20% off all these different websites. You can find on those websites designers, clones, and niche. Your answers are here. So unexpected compliment magnets, we'll call them that. Although to be fair, I do think some of these are maybe not that unexpected, but if you guys voted for them, it counts. First up, we have Lil Work making another appearance. Lil Work! As much as the community hates it, gentlemen, eau de toilette never fails. Actually, this was the fragrance that attracted my girl when we first met. Proof's in the pudding there, isn't it? Especially for you. You're like, yeah, gentlemen, let's go. Now, I've touched on this some, and I'm pretty sure other YouTubers have as well. Gentlemen eau de toilette, really good compliment puller. It does get overlooked by the community because when this first came out, as you said, it got dumped on, it got hated on. And then the eau de parfum came out and basically everyone was like, oh, the eau de parfum is so much better. You suck, eau de toilette, get out of here. I want the eau de parfum and all the flankers after it. Those are all good, but not this one. That's kind of how this fragrance has been treated. It's clean, it's sweet, it's fresh, and those are things that always go well with men's fragrances. And given the benefit of time and space since the release, I'll tell you, it smells good. So Gentleman Eau de Toilette, certified compliment beast. Then we've got one from Mark Skoji 863 who says, I've gotten more compliments wearing Abercrombie and Fitch First Instinct than all my other fragrances combined. That's crazy. Until you realize that Mark Skoji has 3 fragrances. One of those fragrances that he has is Axe Apollo, and then the other one is Chrome Sport. So with all those, you know, battling against each other, First Instinct is the winner. Not serious. I honestly have no clue how many fragrances he's got. First Instinct is overlooked by a lot of people nowadays though. It's pretty affordable from discounters. Another one that has a great balance of fresh and sweet, kind of a tropical feel to it. The quality on it is actually surprisingly good. And it is absolutely a compliment pulling sort of scent with great versatility once again. First Instinct is a fragrance that for a split second in time did have a little bit of hype where people were like, hey man, I checked this out. It's actually pretty good. It doesn't cost that much. So people were, you know, scooping it up, but then it kind of fell by the wayside as time went on, which happens, but this stuff still works really well. And yeah, I would say nowadays that is kind of an under the radar compliment getter. Then we have one from Fragrance Gentleman who says, hands down, Ani from Nishane, insane amount of compliments. And yeah, I could see Ani pulling compliments, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of known for that actually, being a really nice vanilla fragrance and being perfect for fall and winter time. And it's one of the more popular fragrances that Nishane has. By the way, as I'm filming this video, there is a severe tornado warning right now.
Special report.
Like legitimately, they shut down all the schools and like closed all the gyms and everything. They're just like, hey guys, just so you know, within the next hour. So we'll see. My final video. Oh. But anyway, Nishane, Ani, compliment puller. Yeah, I think pretty comfortably. And it does smell really nice. And compared to what most people are wearing, to be fair, it will absolutely set you apart. Good performance as well, and a great price from discounters typically. Smells Addicted. It's a good name. So I'm not saying this just to make Ash happy. Yeah, you are. I'm on to you. But Drakkar Noir has always been a big compliment puller for me. And it makes sense that Sauvage Elixir would be so popular given its similarity to Drakkar Noir. The 80s are making a comeback, baby! Ah, I feel vindicated. Yeah, Drakkar Noir, still working. It does have some similarities to Sauvage Elixir, absolutely. It's also way, way, way cheaper, which I like. But Drakkar Noir has always been my jam. I've told this on the channel before, but I was in elementary school wearing this stuff. Does this fragrance really match for someone in elementary school? No, but I wore it anyway. Has that classic masculine feel to it. It's clean, but at the same time, it packs a pretty good punch. A lot of aromatics coming through. Actually just a massive note breakdown as you would expect from fragrances from the time. But Drakkar Noir, certified, still works. And if somebody asks what you're wearing, and you feel embarrassed to say Drakkar Noir, just say Sauvage Elixir. Is it that close that it's a one-to-one? No, but you can absolutely fool some people out there. You just can't fool like that, 55-year-old lady, because she's gonna be like, that ain't Sauvage Elixir. I know exactly what that is. You're trying to fool me. Flamboyant91 says Chanel Egoiste Platinum. I was afraid that it would be too mature for me since I started wearing it a few years ago when I was still in my 20s. I always get great reactions. Yeah, there is that sort of misconception, I guess, or maybe not a misconception, but that feeling for some guys that are younger, early 20s, mid 20s, even teens maybe, where they smell a fragrance like this that has a classic scent profile, scent structure to it that smells very classy, kind of like a businessman or gentleman kind of makeup to the scent. They smell it and they go, I like the way it smells. I'd love to pull it off, but I don't think I can. It's too mature for me. But in reality, it would work fantastically for you. Not everything has to be sweet on top of sweet on top of sweet. Sometimes you can go with something like this that's gonna have you smelling more sophisticated, more elegant. Sometimes it'll work really well, even as a casual fragrance. So while for most people, if they're thinking compliments and they're thinking Chanel for men, they're thinking Bleu de Chanel or the Allure line, something like this can do just as well. Then we have a comment from Gurjot Singh 119 who says, Toy Boy Moschino, a beast of a fragrance if you can pull off the rose. Might not be for everyone, but it's straight up amazing when it comes to compliments. Ooh, Toy Boy appears again. I know we're kind of trying to go beyond fragrance compliment hype here, but when it came out, it did have a bit of hype, well, a good amount of hype, because it was so different compared to what other designer fragrance were doing. And frankly, it still is very unique in the entire designer fragrance realm of fragrances for men. And yes, it's very floral, to the point that most people would say it's unisex, possibly for some people even leaning feminine. Even makes use of the note of magnolia, which you really don't see in men's fragrances. So while this will, as you said, absolutely not work for everybody, for some people, this will be a standout signature fragrance, something very different and unique. Garrison L is up next, who says, Sean John's 3 AM, great during the summer and wonderful at work. Yes, I agree with both of those, and has a really good atomizer too. Ooh, ooh. Somehow, some way, Sean John's 3 AM has one of the best designer atomizers ever. It makes no sense to me, but it is what it is. And for a long time, this was apocalyptically cheap. From discounters, you could pick up 3 AM for like 20 bucks. Unfortunately, when it comes to 3 AM, it is not as easy to find anymore. As I said, once upon a time, you could find this anywhere for next to nothing. Frankly, most people didn't even want it. And nowadays, not quite so easy. Yeah. And this one is just an interesting fragrance in general, as far as the overall reception of the scent goes. So when this first came out, people hated on it. Then as time went on and people would say, well, it's cheap, I'll throw it in my cart, worst comes to worst, I'm out 20 bucks. That's actually what I did, because when it first came out, I wasn't big on it. I picked it up later, really cheap from FragranceNet at the time. And when I got it in and smelled it, I thought, it's actually pretty nice. And I thought to myself, yeah, this doesn't match. Like what's being said or what was said when it first came out versus what I'm smelling here. Yeah, not matching up exactly. So more people started to come around as they bought it on the cheap, and things started to flip, and people were like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And now it's hard to find. But yes, 3 a.m., I think that would qualify, because absolutely nobody is gonna be wearing this unless you're into fragrances. And it is a great under the radar scent that a lot of people enjoy. Devin Grand's 9035 is gonna hit us with 2. He says, Cerruti Image for freshies, but for more cold weather. Blue Noir from Narciso Rodriguez. Surprisingly insane compliments for these that I didn't expect. So these are pretty good. Cerruti Image, great little bottle, cool looking atomizer that works horribly. So we go from 3 a.m., one of the best atomizers in the designer game, to one of the worst. I mean, in terms of aesthetics, it looks good, but not a good atomizer. So the Narciso, this one is musky, woody, spicy. It's extremely classy. It's going to appeal to people that like fragrances like Cartier's Declaration or Terre d'Hermès, stuff like that. It's got a nice elegance to it, and absolutely, it's an under the radar fragrance house, frankly, for men. And then Cerruti Image, this was, I hesitate to call it a hype beast. It really wasn't, but it was a fragrance that would pop up sometimes on cheapie lists, especially years ago. And then they stopped making it. It became hard to find. It got a little expensive, especially compared to what you used to be able to pick it up for. Then they started making it again, and now it's cheap again. It has a very interesting note breakdown. It has notes like pear and banana leaf and plum, vetiver, cypress, musk, and some florals in there as well. So it's got a lot of stuff going on. Ultimately, it's a musky, clean, almost soapy, but then slightly fruity, fresh scent. It's not really powerful as far as the projection goes, but part of that, not the whole reason, but part of that is that atomizer. I mean, that just is spraying out almost nothing. So you gotta hit yourself with like 15 sprays of this. Zach Anthony 3834 is gonna hit us with this one. Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Coral Fantasy. Oh, Coral, what happened, Coral? Walking Dead, yeah.
Oh, no.
You thought I was Rick for a second there. Put a little cowboy hat on me. Coral! But anyway, Born in Roma Coral Fantasy always gets me a ton of compliments from the people around me, probably more than any other fragrance I own. That is the deal with the Born in Roma fragrances. As far as compliments goes, they'll get them for you. And that goes for pretty much any of them. So you've got a lot of sweetness here. You have tobacco in there, giving you a bit of warmth as the fragrance dries down. I do actually think it's a good fragrance. Coral Fantasy, very nice. My personal favorite in the Born in Roma line is the new one, Intense. And I do want to give a shout out also to the original Valentino Uomo, which got a bunch of votes. That one's good too. It's a bit similar to Dior Homme. It's got a nice hazelnut note to it, along with a little bit of leather, and of course that kind of irisy feel, but not quite as makeup-y as in the Dior Homme line. But Coral Fantasy, yes, absolutely, I agree with you. Big time compliment puller. And I would say this is a big step up from the original Born in Roma. So this flanker, much better than that one. Last but not least, we have FF Blitzace, who says, not really off the wall, but Moschino Wave. And it really amazes me too, because it wins in that category for me by a landslide. Talking about compliments, I assume. Don't get me wrong, I like it myself, but I'd love to know how it smells to an observer, because I don't really understand how it overperforms to the level it does. I wear something different to work every day at a hospital and can go weeks without a single peep about what I'm wearing. Then I wear a Moschino Wave and multiple people comment on it every time. So Moschino Wave, obviously you can tell, a bit of an aquatic fragrance, really fresh. Smells similar to Versace Pour Homme and Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Has a nice looking presentation, good performance for a summertime fragrance. It's extremely likable, easy to wear. And it's something I've talked about on this channel before, but when you have a fragrance that's fresh, but it's also a bit sweet and then clean as well. So nothing in there with an animalic tinge to it. When you have those three things and you do it well, you pull it off competently, and people can smell it, you spray enough on that they can pick it up, that is just about the best combination for pulling compliments. Now, unfortunately, This has been a little bit harder to find here recently. For a long time, you could find this at discounters easily, for cheap, for months and months and months on end. And then for a while, it's been harder to find. So you look on Fragrance Buy, sold out. Joma Shop, sold out. Fragrance Net, sold out. It's unfortunate. So with this one, I will say yes, compliments galore, but don't pay too much for it. Preferably, you do want to be able to pick this up from a discounter because it's much easier to enjoy something when you haven't overpaid to get it. So there we go, guys. 10, technically 11, of your choices for unexpected compliment magnets. I want to thank you all for hanging with me here today. There are more videos that you can vote on the community tab. So go there, see what's up right now, what question is up. Leave a comment, upvote others that you agree with. Stay safe out there, guys. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later. Made it through the video, no tornadoes.